What's going on, everybody? It's the Canes. It's the Six Rings Canes pregame show. As I'm joined here by Paul Austria. I don't know. I'm not. I'm not sure what that is, but
Sorry,
Paul,
it's I'll
yeah,
turn
you
it
might
off.
want to. You gotta stop doing that stuff, man, in the background. Um,
I'm
hey,
here.
we're joined by Larry Bluestein. What's going on,
Hey,
Blue? How's it going, man?
What up?
good, good. Just
Good.
kind of I just got in here. I mean, I tried to get in a couple of times, but I'm here.
All right, all right. Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it. Listen, guys. I think the thing that we really want to talk about the most is that unavailability list that's going on right now with the Canes. Right, some big names that are going to be missing today's game, including Zach McLeod, Jared Harrison Hunt, and a few others. Blue, the Canes are already, which boggles my mind. The Canes are already underdogs in this game, right? 2.5 point
Right.
underdogs, and which I don't understand to begin with. But guy. Oh, and also John Campbell's another one that's going to be out. Ja'Kai Clark, so that offensive line takes a little bit of a hit with some starters as well. And Jalen Rivers is again out. How's that going to play into this game against Virginia Tech? Who, listen, it's always a battle with them, right? I would consider them one of our rivals.
Yeah.
But they lost a tough game last week to Liberty. We're the number 9 team in the country. They're unranked and they're still favorites. What's going on there? How is that going to affect the unavailability list? How is that going to affect the game overall?
It's that what I think it is you have an first of all, Liberty's pretty good. Instead, that's an in-state thing. That was for a lot of recruiting these days because where we used to shovel Liberty under the rug and say, oh, they're just a small. They're not that. They're a player now in recruiting. And so obviously that was a big game, and to lose that. Virginia Tech's not bad. I watched them earlier in the year, and remember Miami on this road with NC State and Louisville haven't exactly looked great on the defensive side of the ball. So they give Virginia that kind of puncher chance because of that they can move the ball on Miami, and they will. They're big up front. They've got athletes all over the place, and that's why I wasn't real. I thought it would be even or maybe Miami by 1. So it's not like it took me totally by surprise. Yeah, Miami's playing well, but let's look back at the games. They're kind of eking out a few against Virginia and against NC State, and I think the odds makers feel that on this Saturday afternoon it may bounce the other way. The ball may not bounce in Miami's favor. With Harley coming up with a great catch in the in the last couple of minutes of the ball game to win that game. So. I'm not real surprised at the point spread. I just think the thing that boggles my mind with that list it comes out like really late and nobody really has an opportunity to ask Manny Diaz anything. I'd want to know what the heck's going on. I mean, every week, are you setting yourself up for an excuse? I mean, just in case if you put out 10, 12 guys and then all of a sudden you lose to Virginia Tech, and at the end, Manny's in his press conference and saying, hey, we didn't have enough guys and we were undermanned. Well, you know what? I want to know why. What's going on?
You muted, Jazz.
I'm muted. Yep, that would be so Miami, though, right? If something like that happens.
No, I'm
that
just, and I don't want it to happen, and I hope Miami wins. But I'm just saying that when you had that many guys out, and you had brought, I mean, when you mentioned a Campbell, and you mentioned a couple of the other kids I saw, I think McLeod's out. So you're looking at a depth issue here now, and that's the thing that's the problem with Miami. They're hanging on that one little thread. If any of those frontline kids go out, like the De'Aaron Kings, or right now Harley, who's really got the hot hand, what is Miami going to do? So they can't. I really want to know what the heck is going on with these lists. I mean, why is it so extensive? And are we not following protocol? Are we? That's my question. I said, why? Why every week are we having these kids who may not all be starters, but they're depth?
Well, here's the good news, right? Corey Flagg is back.
Okay.
Brevin Jordan is back.
Yeah.
Xavier Restrepo is back. Keyshawn Smith is back. I know those guys haven't really done much yet anyways, but for Brevin Jordan and Corey Flagg, that's big, right? Because we needed some help at linebacker. You know, Will Mallory did a great job last week, but you're never going to say no to having Brevin Jordan back in the lineup and playing. So that's a good news. So I don't know if the excuse could be made that they're trying to, you know, come up with a way to, you know, to make an excuse for possibly.
No. I'm just saying. I mean, it seems like every week you're getting more and more guys, and you know, and if it comes down to a depth issue towards the end of the game, and Miami runs out of gas, I'm just saying, you know, we didn't have this guy, or we could have put. You know, I know he'd never use that as an excuse, but that's almost, you know, all the fans. You know how the fans are. They're looking for everything.
He'd lose his job the minute that he says something like that. That's for sure. So, you know, listen, Paul. The biggest one to me, I think, you know, I feel I'm very confident with some of the guys that are. Believe it or not, I'm actually somewhat confident with the guys that are backing up the Ja'Kai Clarks. And John Campbell's a backup at this point, but he rotates with Zion Nelson. I get it. But it gives an opportunity for some of the other guys like Cleveland Reed, maybe even Jalen Rivers is out also.
Jalen, he's out. Yeah.
So you might get a couple other guys that are going to go in there and play a little bit. But I'm actually kind of confident with them, which is kind of crazy. I don't understand why I am, but I just have a feeling about it. I think the biggest concern is Jared Harrison Hunt just took the starting job over John Ford last week, and now he's out for this week. He's been the best defensive guy in the front, you know, the front four. In my opinion, I know Roche and Phillips have done a great job, but you know, he sets the tone on the inside. Really, him and Nesta, who Nesta's had a really great game, but it's a big blow, I think, for that, and even the leadership from Zach McLeod, not necessarily the play, because I think we've got some guys that can play on that side, and linebacker and Corey Flagg is back, but. For me, it's Harrison Hunt. Who's the guy that you are more concerned about for this game that's out?
Well, me, I think it was the beginning of the season, in the UAB game especially that we went to, we talked, like, I remember mentioning how you just couldn't miss Jared Harrison Hunt. Like, I kind of feel like he deserved way more playing time in the beginning. I kind of felt like John Ford was more like a stopgap. Like, he was kind of just there, and he wasn't making as big an impact as Jared Harrison Hunt. And Harrison Hunt is big. I mean, he's kind of riding away from momentum recently. I mean, he's huge, 6'5", 280 guy. Overall, I'm looking at the list, and it's a lot of linemen on both sides. You know, I mean, I'm kind of really worried about the offensive line depth because play has kind of been so-so for the past couple of years, and then you're missing 5 offensive linemen. I mean, I know one of them is Isaiah Walker. But still, I mean, I think they even mentioned that Navon Donaldson might actually play. I think he was in Rome.
Wow.
He actually might play today. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's like what, 1 game early, or no? I think. Oh no, technically he could play out the rest of the year and still keep his red shirt, even though the whole thing with the year not counting. You know, that also.
But could keep it anyway.
Yeah, but I guess ideally you wouldn't want to have to be in a situation where you have to play him. But I mean, it is what it is. And then now you have Zion Nelson at left tackle. You have Trayor at left guard. And offensive line might be a little shaky. But overall, I think the biggest name on this list, I would definitely say, there's a lot of notable names, honestly.
They threw us a big curveball.
Yeah, I would say Harrison Hunt definitely is the biggest name, but just overall, like, there's still a lot of names on this list that could make an impact. Like, Ja'Kai Clark he was still kind of in the middle trying to find his rhythm. John Campbell gets a decent amount of playing time. McLeod, I mean, I am disappointed that McLeod is going to be out, but at the same time, I think I'm also excited about Sam Brooks definitely getting more run. I know he's been kind of dealing with nagging injury, but if he's going to step up, this is definitely the game. And
does a guy like Tyreek Austin Cave get more playing time today? Finally, maybe.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean,
he would definitely be in the depth.
Yeah.
I would think so.
I kind of want to see Flagg get more run than Jennings. I think Jennings has kind of been also very so this year, and we've seen a lot of good things out of Flagg. So hopefully he gets more run. And overall, I mean, I'm honestly just speechless after just seeing this. I'm assuming it's a contact tracing thing. There's no way that all these guys are either hurt or caught COVID. I mean, I don't really know. I'm just speculating. Who am I? But I'm just gonna assume.
Where's Manny Diaz? Where's Manny Diaz when you need him?
I don't know. We don't even know if Herbert's gonna play. There's also that.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's 15 minutes before the game. So there's the injury report coming out like an hour before. You kind of really it keeps you on your toes, but I feel like it keeps you on your toes like a little too much.
Well, it gives us something to talk about, so I appreciate it. What are you gonna do?
Right.
Because we're stunned.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big one, right, Larry? On the other side of the ball is Khalil Herbert. Although I think what everybody has been talking about the most about the Canes struggling with is stopping Hendon Hooker's running ability, right? More than anything else.
Yeah, they haven't been successful doing that this year. When you get a quarterback with that athletic ability, whether it been Louisville or last week against NC State, Miami I think Paul and I talked, and I guess it was the Pitt game at home when they were we seemed to make everybody look, the opposing quarterbacks look like Heisman trophies sometimes.
Yeah, we did against Virginia too. Brendan Armstrong looked great too. So I mean, that's going to be my biggest thing, and I think that's why the Vegas, the odd makers have Virginia Tech, like you said, Larry, favored, because I don't think they think the Canes can stop Hendon Hooker enough for them to win.
Right.
He's a good passer too. That's the thing. He's a 67% passer, so that shouldn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, Virginia Tech long gives Miami problems. I don't care who's back there, whether it's the Vic brothers or whoever. It doesn't matter. They've always given Miami a lot of fits. And I'll tell you this: I think Miami just needs to get off and play their own game, and because we said this, and I continue to reiterate it. There's no easy games left. Not at all. I mean, all these games are going to be all late 4-quarter games. They are. I don't care if it's Wake Forest or what. It's just right now Miami doesn't have that ability, I don't think, to race away from anybody. Especially today with the lack of depth.
Right. Yeah. That's going to be the biggest issue, the lack of depth. I mean, on offense, they're going to be able to do their thing, but I just don't think that they're going to be able to hold Virginia Tech with or without Khalil Herbert to less than 20 points, let's say. I mean, I think this is going to be another NC State
42-40 game.
I have a feeling that it is.
Look at Paul. Oh my gosh. I don't think I have enough aspirin.
I know. Okay, but wait a second. What do you prefer, Paul? Do you prefer us, kind of it'd be a tight game, it'd be like 17-14, or do you prefer us shooting? Okay, better question.
Okay.
Are you more confident in the Canes winning a shootout as opposed to winning a tight defensive game?
I say the shootout. I think, especially because Virginia Tech's defense is not that great. I think they're allowing 460 yards total offense a game. I think that's one of the bottom. I'm not sure if that's the bottom of the ACC.
Well, Louisville was right there too, towards the bottom, and they were supposed to have a great defense. They were sinking because, although like we said last time, I mean, we got chastised for playing Virginia 1914, but Notre Dame kind of got skipped when they only beat Louisville 12-7. So, I mean, I have a strong feeling about Boston College beating Notre Dame because I just think Boston College is more physical.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that preview earlier today. And I was like, how back in '93 when Notre Dame beat number one team in the country, beat Florida State, and then the next week they lost to Boston College. So this is the same scenario for them.
Yeah,
could it happen again?
But it's more than a trap game. Boston College has got the goods. I mean, look, they should have beaten Clemson. Really, when you think about it, let that game get away.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm with you. So I think that it's not a trap game. It's just a really good game, and
I'm just saying that for Miami fans who are worried that if Notre Dame wins out, they're not going to win out. They got a chance to lose at UNC too. So I mean, it's not far from over.
Hey, and listen, Clemson's defense hasn't been playing really well lately either, so they can drop another one easily if you think about it. If they get into a shootout, I mean, that defense might fold, and you might get someone come out and upset them also. So they do get Trevor Lawrence back, which is going to be a big boost for them. Although Uiagalelei did a great job.
Well, yeah, it wasn't his fault they lost.
Yeah, it was definitely a defense. So if you get a team that can score some points like that, they could be in trouble again. So we'll see. Going back to the Canes game now, we've got De'Aaron King coming off. What some would say was the best performance by a Miami Hurricane quarterback ever. I might be there as well with that, just from a stats perspective, everything that he was able to do. Running game still, it's
Shaky.
there. It's a little shaky. Cam Harris did a little bit of a better job last week, but it was held together by Kings running, right? Again,
Yeah.
King did a great job running the football. The wide receivers look like they're starting to step up and having more confidence. And I think a big thing with the wide receivers is that we haven't mentioned a lot. Maybe is the confidence, right? De'Aaron King is starting to get more confidence, throwing the ball to them. But not only that, Rhett Lashley is starting to become more confident in calling better plays and maybe plays that will allow the wide receivers to get open better. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like everything is coming together now on
It's a collective thing. I think
Absolutely.
Receivers are putting more work in. Lashley's trusting the receivers more. King's trusting the receivers more, and
Right.
it's kind of just taking off at the right time. Where I think every game is essentially a trap game for Miami, and that Miami's a top 10 team, and when you're playing them, you're gonna think, okay, we're playing a top tier team. We need to give it our all. So they're gonna get the best of each team that they play. I mean, granted, it's competition, and you should give the best at all times, but they definitely have a bigger target on them now, especially with how the ACC is this year and how shaky it is.
No,
I think Miami always gets people's best forever because of the fact that, they're the U and they have all these people like the Michael Irvin spokesmen and all those guys like that. So everybody knows when you play the University of Miami, whether you're good or bad, it means something, I think.
Yeah. Oh no. I think that the history in the past is always going to be there for Miami. I don't think that they're ever going to live that down, which is good. I love that. It continues to keep Miami relevant, which when they do have down years, we figure it out how to try to, get things back together. And I think they're doing a good job of that now. They need probably, Larry, would you say a couple more solid recruiting classes when they have some top tier kids coming in like next year,
right?
With Leonard Taylor, and then maybe Shamar Stewart decides that he wants to do something crazy and commit to the Kings for 2022. That would be huge too. Obviously, we've been seeing the edits lately of him in Kings gear and stuff, so it's kind of cool. But James Williams, another kid, so you've got some talent coming in, which is cool.
Transfer portal too, which seems to have hit a good chord over the last couple of years. It's got you some studs because I sat there the other night and thought all the kids at Miami's going to lose because you lose the Quincy Roches and players like that have helped you this year, and that's why I think, and even Harley's he's gone, and Cam Harris will be gone most likely.
Maybe Phillips too. You never know.
Yeah, mostly, yeah. It depends. But here's the thing, the big question's been going around, and now people are taking a little bit more time to step back and think, would De'Aaron King come back? Or would that hurt Miami's would that retard the growth of a Tyler Van Dyke and, by pushing him aside another year? Because we saw what it did. Spencer Rattler almost went nuts in Oklahoma because they kept throwing Kyler Murray and everybody in front of him, and he didn't like that. And all of a sudden he was on the verge if they brought and then they brought in Jalen Hurts and all that stuff. So he was on the verge of leaving if they brought in, because they had talked about bringing in De'Aaron King, Oklahoma. So he was on the verge of leaving. So you don't want to have that in Miami, because that type of thing is a negative when it comes to recruiting, where you start stockpiling kids, and after you've told them, well, you'll have a chance in the year or two to compete for a starting job, when in reality, if you keep bringing in these fifth-year seniors and things, like they won't have a chance to start. So so they got to kind of be wise with that. But you would feel a whole lot better, wouldn't you, opening up against Alabama with De'Aaron King?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword for me, because it will, like you said, kind of slow down or regress a little bit on the recruiting front. Yeah, maybe for some positions like quarterback, right? Well, initially, I think this is what will happen initially, right? I think Tyler Van Dyke, I honestly think he could probably use another year under this system to get it going. And
but he hasn't played.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know. So I don't want to get in his mind. But but in the long run, could it benefit you if you have a De'Aaron King come back next year? Because chances are, if he does come back, you are going to be considered a national championship contender if he does come back next year. That's how I feel, right? So does that help recruiting in the long run? Possibly. Will it hinder them maybe for the next year with quarterbacks? Maybe. Who knows? Some kids are Miami guys through and through, and some kids just want to get playing time no matter where they go. So yeah, could I see it kind of hurting them? Also, sure, but as a fan, I don't know if I'm going to complain too much if De'Aaron King comes back. So we'll just have to wait and see on that one. I know game time's coming up now in about it's in about 10 minutes or so. Yeah, definitely want to get your take, guys, on the outcome, predictions on the game, maybe some keys to the game as well on what you think is going to happen today against Virginia Tech. Paul, you want to start it off? Go ahead, Paul.
I am praying to the Lord that this is the game where the running game gets going, because this is also another opportunity game. Virginia Tech allows 5.2 yards to carry, which is like 98th in the country, and then they allow 203 yards on the ground a game, which is 94th in the country. And because I thought last game would be the game against NC State, but that didn't happen. Right. They only had like 150 yards or something like that, and then most of them were by De'Aaron King.
Right.
Score wise, I think De'Aaron King has a great game. I think not maybe. Well, I don't want to predict another Heisman-esque go-off performance like last game because I don't want to jinx it. Let's go with 38-24 Miami. I mean, Lane Stadium is a tough place to play in, but I've heard that they only are allowing 1,000 fans, and it's 1,000 fans in the band. So
it's just 1,000? Wow.
I've seen that number being thrown around. And I was like, that's really low.
That'd be like that'd look like 18 people in the stands.
No kidding.
Wow. Just spread out.
Yeah, you go way up there. You go way up there. Wow.
I think crazy. The band is on one end zone too. Like the band is literally taking up one end zone. That's how sparse it is. Overall, I just with depth being limited, honestly, just come out with a win at this point. Like, I don't want to see De'Aaron King getting beat up tonight. I still want to see a good amount of pressure from the defensive line, regardless. And you got to hope that guys like Sam Brooks and all those young linebackers go off and just dominate, because this is definitely the game where they're going to get so much run that And granted, we don't even know if I think Herbert's a game-time decision. But if he doesn't play, then Miami's set, because the passing game. I mean, even though Hooker's a good passer overall, he's a smart, efficient passer with his completion percentage. I think that Herbert basically is like their offense. Like it's basically going to revolve around him. But if he's not there, Miami's good.
And a local guy too. Unfortunately, they got away from here. Yeah, so he started at Douglas and went to Heritage. I'll tell you this, I think we have these type of games the rest of the way. I've said this, especially with all the depth that Miami's not going to have. They're not playing Enter Sandman, I wouldn't imagine, today, because no one's going to. If you have 1,000 people, it'll deafen everybody. Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm looking at a 41-34 Miami game, 7 points. I know that, I mean, and I still think, but they have to run the ball. They really do. I mean, it was funny for a couple of weeks, but now they have to, because, upcoming games, they're going to need to run the ball. They're going to play teams that may get, that may be able to be passed on, but you can't run on. You have to add some balance. 41-34. I just think that Miami will win the game, but the thing you said at the beginning, Jazz, is that in Virginia's Tech is just they're always going to be pumped up, so they're going to come out and play extremely hard to start this game off, and still thinking about Liberty's game last week too.
Yeah, Justin Fuente is going to have this team ready to play, especially after the mistake that they made on special teams last week at the end to lose to Liberty, but. Look, it's all gonna be on if we can contain Hendon Hooker for me.
Yeah,
right? If we can contain Hendon Hooker, bring some pressure. You're gonna have to have a spy on him. Who's the one that's gonna be a spy? How are they going to kind of put it all together? If they can contain Hendon Hooker, Khalil Herbert, if he plays, is gonna do his thing. Possibly,
he will play, by the way.
Well, he's in.
All
right, so
Herbert will play. And Corey Couch is actually starting over Al Blades today, and
Wow.
then
Oh,
Devon
wow.
Donaldson is ready to make a season debut.
Over
Per
Al
Kane's
Blades.
warning.
Interesting.
Giving away some size there. You're giving away some size there. Aren't they?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be huge for Devon Donaldson, though. A lot of people have been calling for him to start playing again. So if he makes his debut today, he could be a factor in the running game. So I'm going to say contain Hendon Hooker, put some points on the board because you're going to need them. So definitely, maybe a 38-31 game with Miami, 38-31.
All
Another
right.
shootout.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys on. We'll see you guys in the post game show. If you
Yeah.
guys want to jump on and talk about this, hopefully it's a 7-1 hurricane scene that we're talking about. So thank you all for watching. Larry Bluestein, Paul Austria.
Thank you guys.
All
All right, guys.
Go Canes. See
See
you
you
guys
later.
Okay.
Yep.